All right, I think we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're joining today. Thank you for joining us today. We are back again after a while. We are today talking about different ways to share in Power BI. We'll go ahead and jump right in. So, again, this is part of our Fabricating Value series where we focus on our learnings and what we do at a lot of organization, how what works, what doesn't, and what's our favorite way of doing few things. So from that perspective, let's kind of jump straight in. Who we are data crafters. We're a Microsoft solutions partner that is value driven, that focuses on end-to-end analytics. We try to keep it simple. We try to enable better decisions by getting the right data at the hands of right people at the right time. All right. So I'll do a quick start. My name is Khaled Chaudhary. I'm the principal at Data Crafters. I'm an accidental data professional. I have a background in finance. I was a finance director about 9 years ago now, but through a series of accidents, I became chief data officer and eventually glutton for punishment. Now we run a data analytics consulting company. So it's exciting to be here. Ikramul, who's going to be helping us kind of showing a lot of the things we're going to talk about today. So Ikramul, why don't you give a little bit of introduction about yourself?
Oh, thank you, Khalid. Hi, this is Ikramul from Data Crafters. I'm working as a data professional for around 3 years, and I help people creating values from data. So that's the short introduction from me. I think, before wasting any time, we should jump into our main presentation.
Talk about business straight on. All right.
Yes.
Sounds good. All right. So we have some comments coming in. All right, great. So some people, if you guys have any questions and comments, you can put in the chat window. I think from LinkedIn, we're still figuring out how this works a little bit. Now going straight into it, we went through the introductions. We're going to show different ways to share in Power BI, and then we're actually going to focus primarily on Power BI apps, which we think is the best way to share. It does, again, have its limitations and whatnot, and we'll kind of show you a little bit of as we kind of go through it. So jumping straight in, right? So this is, think about from an internal organization perspective. We're not going to be talking about external sharing and whatnot. That's not the focus of this, but we pretty much have kind of 4 categories how you can share in broad general ways, right? We can grant people access to the workspace. And I do have some slides that talks about pros and cons, and I'll kind of go through it, but I'll give you the highlights of it. The workspace access, you can grant people access to the workspace. That is great for collaborating for citizen data professionals, and data engineers and whatnot. However, from a sharing perspective, you can grant them through viewer access. However, given the granular access control requirement and whatnot, it's not, in my definition, the best way to share for consumption from Power BI reports. We can grant people access on a report level, where we can grant the access to a specific report, and we can do that 2 ways. We can share direct permissions. We can go to the report and grant them a specific permission to a specific report and a model. Again, great for one-off small deployments, but like small use case. But from an organizational perspective, again, not the greatest one, because when people are looking for the information, they literally have to go find the shared with me and whatnot. The other one is you can create shareable links, like anything that we do in SharePoint. And when you're creating links, I think it has a good concept of where the link only works for certain people, but most people, when they create the link, they end up creating it for the organization, that anybody in the organization can access it. It creates a security risk from my definition, and also the other part from the sharing perspective, what you get is again, scalability problem, right? So do you keep creating links? Who has the link and whatnot, right? Again, good to get started. I'm not sure what's the best way to go forward. SharePoint Embed is a very good option for specific situations. So, for example, maybe you have EHMS analytics and things like that. People go to the EHMS website, like SharePoint site, to get their information. You can go ahead and add that information in there and whatnot. It works really, really well for specific deployment, but not really that greatest when it comes to um, like a broad, large audience situation, right? Now, finally, that leaves us with Power BI apps, which we will talk a lot more in detail, which personal opinion and through experience, which I feel like is the best way to share in Power BI. All right. So again, this is just the stuff in text, nothing in detail. Like think about this way, right? When we are doing a broad distribution, right? Um, if we keep creating things individually, who has access, how the access is monitored, and right, like it is first a scalable problem, and it becomes a big administrative overhead, right? And again, for after that, even in an organization that might be only 25 to 50 people, just the different variations of access that you can come up with, what the exec should get, what the manager should get. The execs don't want the detailed report first, right? So I think as you're kind of dealing with those, that becomes the challenge, right? So essentially, this allows us to kind of modify things as we need. So app-based sharing using Microsoft Entra. So one part that I want to talk about today when we're going to go through this, right? My favorite way of best practice when it comes to sharing through Power BI takes it a step further is when we use the Entra groups, security groups to do that, right? So it essentially um, takes it to the next level. Now, what is app in Power BI service, Ikramo?
Okay, so app is basically a combined bundle of reports. You can integrate your reports, dashboards, scorecards, and a data set from different workspaces into a single app, and then you can share it combinedly with your users so that they can easily consume the reports and everything in a single point. So that is a high level overview. We'll explore more when we'll go into the demo section.
Good. So think about this way, right? What makes Power BI apps suitable for situation, right? It allows us to customize our audiences. It allows us to bundle multiple information, right? You might have a trend report, you might have a variance report, you might have a CRM report, right? So from different perspective, it allows us to customize and package that information. And it allows us to deploy things to inter-organization, distribution groups, security groups, and all that stuff that comes together, right? And obviously, because it's based on a security group that we can deploy, it can become very scalable. Instead of adding and modifying access to apps every single time, or Power BI reports just based on regular adding to people to regular security groups will automatically deploy access and security. So this is what we talked about already a little bit, but think about this is just an illustration, right? If you look at executive dashboard, what they want to see versus what a salesperson wants to see, and Vikram, you want to kind of give us a little bit feedback on the graph, the drawing that you have here?
Sure. Let's say we have the app and we have integrated several reports into the app from different workspaces. And surely all the people don't need to access all the things on the app. So we can, give access for the executives of the whole app. And then we can grant access for sales manager or salesperson to the exact report that they need to see, and that's where it actually works. And the important thing is we can we don't need to add any users in Power BI service. We can do that in Microsoft Intra. We can create groups and add user over there, and we can map the group into the audiences in that app, and it will automatically applied uh, it will automatically apply the filter for that user.
Great. All right. So Couple of limitations, right? If you have a combination of, it has a limitations on the deployment perspective. It cannot take more than 10,000 users or groups combined, meaning if you try to deploy this using specific users, that's going to be a limitation, right? However, think about there's no limitation on how many groups. I mean, like again, 10,000 groups is a lot of groups, right? For a specific app. So I hardly doubt I've seen people get to that. Ikramal, like what's the total number
And
of reports and dashboard can we have?
okay, I want to add one point over here. Uh, one group or one user doesn't mean one people. You can create a intra group. You can add thousands of people in that group, and that group will be considered as a single user for that app actually. So in that way, you know, you can add a lot more people
Exactly.
in
What I
that
said,
app.
like I think I have yet to come across that problem where people ran out of audience. However, on the other side, there's other limitation on that you cannot have more than 200 reports or dashboards components in an app. However, if you have that many, I think I not the right way to go either. I think from a component perspective, but this is a limitation that you should be aware of. Okay, so Kamal, what does it take to create an app?
Okay, it's a pretty simple steps. So first of all, in our workspace, you can click on you will find a option to create an app. You can click on that. Then you have to add all the contents that you need on that app. Then create some audiences and then assign people or groups to that audiences. And after that, you just need to publish the app. That's the very simple steps we have to
All
create
right,
an app.
so maybe give a little bit of idea about audiences, and then let's step back and we'll go dive right in.
Okay, so you can think of it as a group uh, of, but it's not exactly a group. You can create an audience and then you can add multiple groups as well as multiple single users into that audiences. And
So
you
essentially,
can
what you're
set
saying that I can have like not only that I can bundle the way I want, I can also create sub bundlings within that and control the access
exactly.
for those.
Yes, you can do that, and you can also, limit the views of the app. I mean, let's say you have three reports on the app, and you want to uh, make someone to see only two reports from them. So you can do
Okay,
that easily
great.
using the audiences.
So I
Yeah,
think there is a picture for that, but let's kind of maybe jump straight in.
yeah. Kramul with you today. I'm going to show you how we can create app and share our reports and dashboard with our audiences. When the content in your workspace is ready, you can start the process. When you decide how many different audiences you need to create an app from the workspace, you have to click on the create app option in the workspace. Just clicking on the create app options, a new window will pop up. Here under the setup tab, you will find options to give your app a name. You can give it a description so that people find the app. You can also set a theme color for your app. You can upload a logo for this app, and you can also set the contact information for this app. If anything happens, then the people will be notified. You can list them here. Under the advanced settings, you will find several options for your app. The first one you will get is the navigation pane, whether you want your app or the navigation pane as expanded or collapsed when you published it. The best way to go is with expand navigation pane by default. By this way, your user will easily navigate through different pages on the app. And next, I want to talk about an important settings. Before you leave the setup tab, you can decide if you want users to have access to hidden content of your app, but you have to keep in mind that if user have a direct link to any of the content of your app, they can access the hidden content even if that item is visually hidden in the navigation pane for that audience. And next, you will find two global app settings options. The first one is install this app automatically, and the second one is allow users to make a copy of the report. If you select the second one, then app users who have built permission can save a copy of a report from the app consumer view. You can also grant build permission to your app users through the app using advanced options under manage audience access pane. I will show you that in the later part. And if you want your app will be automatically installed to your end users, then you can select this one. But before do that, you need to ensure that your tenant admin has already enabled the settings in the tenant, and the settings is push apps to the end user. This option is needed to be enabled in your tenant if you want to select this one. For my app, I'm going to give it a name like sales insights. I'm going to leave the description as it is because this app is only for demo purposes. I'm going to upload a logo for my app, and I'm selecting the base color as my theme color, and I'm leaving all the advanced settings option as it is. Here is an important thing that there is an option called support site where you can add a site link where people can get help or information about this app. And after setting all of these things, we'll go to add our content. We cannot hear you. Can you please turn on your mic?
That would help. So, for those of you who have seen, like Ikramul has mastered the art of ventriloquism, that he's been talking without moving his lips. So we learned from our last mistake last time when we were trying to do the demo because of network glitches. So we have decided to kind of do the demo prepared by Ikramul earlier. So just so you know, when you hear Ikramul talking but don't see him moving, that's kind of the reason. All right, so now we have created the, like, take the first step. Now next step is going to be Kreml what? Adding contents, right?
Yeah. Next,
Contents on
we're going to show how we can
workspace
add
to the app.
contents. So to do that, you have to select the add content. Then a new screen will pop up, and you can see all the contents available in this particular workspace. You can select the contents that you want to add to the app, or you can select everything at one click by this uh, clicking on this option. And you can also add content from different workspace. You can just paste the link of that content. It will be automatically added to the app. So in my case, I'm going to select all the contents available in my workspace. So I'm selecting these options and everything is selected. Then I'm clicking on add, and as you can see, all the content is added here. Here you can change the order of the content. You can simply drag something up, or drag something down, or you can also get the options. If you click on the ellipse, then you will also get the options to move it up or down. Or you can also rename the content, or if you want it, you can delete it. Contents to our app. So that's how
Let's
we
click
can add
on
content
Add
to our app.
Audiences.
On the Audience tab, you can create and manage audience groups within the app. To create an audience, um, click on New Audiences and then double click on it and rename the audience. In my case, I'm going to create a audience group for my executives. So I'm going to rename it as executives. Then I'm going to create another one for salespersons, and I'm going to create another one for my super user. Now after creating all the audiences, you can select the hide and show icon next to each item in the workspace to determine the content that this app audience can see. So one important thing you need to keep in mind that hiding content from audiences make it unavailable in the published app for that audiences or audience. However, if you select allow access to hidden content, as I have told earlier, a user with a direct link to any of the content in the app can access the hidden content, even if that item is visually hidden in the navigation pane of that audience. So for my salesperson audience, I want them only to see the salesperson summary. I don't want them to see all the reports from here. So I'm going to hide all other contents for this audience. Even I have applied RLS on salesperson so that an individual salesperson can only see the sales that he makes. And as for executives, they are the higher authorities of the company. They need to know everything that is happening in the company, but they are not interested in any kind of top end analysis. So I'm going to hide only the Pareto analysis for them. And for super users, they also belongs to the higher authorities, but they are the people who want to make their own analysis on the data. Like they might be interested in analyzing the data in Excel, so they need build permission, and as well as they also need to know all the information. So I'm not going to hide any content for them. Grant access to either all people in your organization or specific users or groups. You can also expand the advanced options to configure the following settings per audience group. If you select allow users to share the semantic models.
Just a quick point. I think if you guys have questions, feel free to put in the chat. I did see a question about licenses. I'll definitely come back to it. But feel free to ask questions. What you're seeing on the screen, we'll address the question about license as soon as we kind of go through the end-to-end process.
In this app, this option gives app consumers permission to share the underlying semantic models of the app audience. And if you select allow users to build content with the semantic models in this app, this option lets your app consumers create their own reports and dashboards based on the app audience semantic models. Now, you need to keep in mind that build permissions only apply to semantic models in the same workspace as the app. If semantic models are in the other workspaces, you must explicitly grant build permissions on those semantic models, or at least add the users to the viewer role in the other workspace. So for my super users, obviously, I'm not going to grant access my entire organizations to this audience. I have already created an Azure security group, or you can say it as Microsoft intra groups. I'm going to, and I have also added all the users into that group. Now I'm going to add that groups in here. Let's add it. So I have added my groups here. And as I told you, my super users, they need build permission on the content. So I am going to select this one, as well as I'm going to allow them to share this data set in this app audience. As for executives, I am going to assign the executives groups to this audience, but I'm not going to give them any build permission or any share permission on this one. And as for salesperson, I'm going to add the salesperson groups to this audience, and here also I'm not going to give them any further access. Now let's publish the app and explore the view of different audiences. I just clicked on publish the app and it gives me a new link. Let's go to the app. As you can see, the salesperson's audience can only see the salesperson summary. Uh, if I click on executives, they can see all the sales related report like the sales snapshot. This audience can also access the sales performance and also the sales trend. But the executives are not able to access the Pareto analysis as I hide the Pareto analysis for them. If I click on super users, they can access all the reports including the Pareto analysis. The super users can also export the data in Excel and analyze it. To do that, they need to click on this export option and then they have to click on analyze in Excel. If they click on it, Excel file will be created and they can easily download it in their own machine and analyze the data. Okay, so after checking all the views for different audiences and publishing the app, user needs to find the app. To do that, you have to select the apps option. From there, click on get apps and select the organizational app. You can search by name for this app, or if there is not too many, then you can easily find this app. For my case, you can see that this is my app and I'm clicking on get it now, and then it will start installing for yourself.
So, Ikram, we can get the apps when this published, right? Like based on the security groups, it makes it available to specific users, correct? So
Yes,
the first time if you send them a link, that will automatically install it. If not, when they click on it, they will be able to add the app that's available to that person, correct?
exactly.
So with that, I think I want to move to one of my other most favorite feature of apps is a lot of times we're working with the sales team and whatnot, and getting them to go log into one system is difficult, and getting them to go to Power BI might be even more difficult, right? So from that perspective, what I have found from organizational perspective that people love using is to use Teams, right? So it would be kind of great if we could just put the same thing in Teams. What do you think?
Yeah, we can easily leverage Microsoft Teams for accessing the Power BI app. We can do that in two different ways.
All right, let's
So
look into it.
yeah, let's go. If you want to discuss about the reports in Teams, or if you want to share the app in Teams channel directly from here, you can do that. To do that, you have to click on chat in Teams. Then a new screen will pop up. From here, you can select where you want to share this item. For my case, I'm going to share it in sales analytics team. After selecting the channel, click on share. Then if you check your teams, you will find a link for that app. You can chat here, and if you click on the link, it will directly take you to the app. You can also add this app as a Teams channel tab. To do that, you have to go to your Teams channel. From there, click on add a tab, select Power BI, and click on Save. Then it will ask you for a link of your app, or you can simply browse your workspaces, click on Apps, and from there you can select the Sales Insight apps, then click on Add. You can see the app is in your Teams channel right now. You can observe it and explore it from here. Also, you can leverage Copilot to make a quick summary of your report. Also, you can do the same thing in a different way. The way is just click on this app from here, select Power BI. If it is already installed or integrated in your Teams, then click on Open. If it is not, then first click on Add and then open it. Though I have Power BI integrated in my Teams, I'm going to open it. From here, I'm going to select my channel. Then I click on Go, and from here, the same thing, I'm going to save the tab. Then it is showing me the same screen again. Now I'm going to copy the link of my app and I'm going to paste it here, and then I'm click on Add.
All right, there you have it. So essentially, from that perspective, this is what I consider the best way to share Power BI for majority of the cases, not all cases, as we kind of talked about earlier. But for things that's scalable, secure, and a custom bundling of information, Power BI apps coupled with Teams and Microsoft Entra security groups are what I consider the best way to go. So we do have a little bit more stuff on the presentation. Let me just take a quick back look into that. So I'll jump straight to that. It's essentially how the part went through. So for licenses for apps is essentially nothing different than what your regular consumption is. Think about it this way, right? So anybody who consumes Power BI information internal to your organizations needs a license unless that is backed by a P1 or F64 or higher capacity. For developers, even if you have a F64 capacity, you would need a license to build, but that you can do with a pro or a premium per user license. So I hopefully that answers that questions regarding licenses, and we will go ahead and post this video. Sorry, the video is already there. We'll go ahead and post the slides in LinkedIn. So do look out for that tomorrow. Apart from that, thanks you for joining us. Hopefully this was helpful to you. And let us know, what would you like to see next time? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you everyone joining us.